This week, the lick of the week is actually user requested. One of the guys in my forum takes lessons in our studio, and he mentioned something he was having an issue with in his class. A couple other people said, hey, I think that would be a cool idea to learn. So here we are. Sometimes if you just request, I'll see what I can do for you. So this is basically, we're taking a ninth chord and we're sliding it around to give you a little bit of a melody idea for blues, and you can even use for funk music too. All right. So a lot of our other exercises have been all in G, like a G blues jump kind of deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a C9 chord, which is going to be the 4 chord in the key of G. Give you someplace else to go. If you wanted to play this in G, you'd have to come up to the 10th fret for the root. And all of the ideas that we're going to do are going to be the same. Alright, so the C9 chord, just to start with, you've got your second finger on the C, 3rd fret, 5th string. First finger is on the 4th string on the 2nd fret, and then your barring finger here, you're going to do a partial bar on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings on the 3rd fret. Now, one thing about this bar that people have problems with, right? This finger and this finger have to stay arched, otherwise we're not going to hear the notes on the adjoining strings. This finger, in order to get all of those notes to sound, you have to have a backwards collapse of the joint right here. And you see where this knuckle is? If you do it from this angle, you see that this knuckle here is way out in front of the plane of the fretboard. That allows you to push this segment of your finger flat, and then you'll get the bar. If you have it back here like this, it's really hard to put enough pressure down on that. So that's the thing with this, is you kind of have to get that hand position there, otherwise this really isn't going to work, especially once we start moving it around. So the very first one, say we're playing a slow blues, got that C9, and we're just going to take that 3rd finger, the partial bar, slide it up to the 5th fret and back down. You can do it for any of the chords. Alright, anything in the blues, you can do it that way. You can even take this, like if you're doing a more of a funkier thing. Kind of like a Tower of Power kind of deal if you wanted to. Alright, we're not really going to get too into that today, but you can see where you can use this for a bunch of different styles. Alright, so that's the first one. We're just playing the chord, slide up 2 frets, and back down with the partial bar. The next variation that's going to be in the notation on the site, we're just going to take our pinky and we're going to stick it out here on the 5th fret, 1st string. That notes the 13th of the chord, which I'm not going to get too into why that's called the 13th, other than the fact that it gives us a really nice melody sound. It's a little bit jazzier. Once again, you can even, like, you know, over that one chord, you can actually use kind of as a passing or approach chord. Just kind of a neat sound. All right, that chord, if you take it up here to the 6th fret, all right, and play this rhythm, you get, you know, a little bit of Sex Machine by James Brown. All right, so once again, it's a real useful sound in a couple different styles. All right, the next one that we're going to do, there's 4 variations on this that we're dealing with today. Is going to be something that I stole from Stevie Ray Vaughan recording, and who knows where he stole it from, but I've heard other people do it too. So we're just taking this 3-note bit here and we're making a melody out of it. So I'll play the chord and just move it out to 5th fret. Alright, that's all written in the notation as well, but basically you're doing a lot of sliding back and forth. You have to keep the pressure on that partial bar to get the whole thing to sound out. Right. And then the last one that we're going to be doing here, alright, it's actually kind of a little lead thing that I like doing, like if we're playing in a G. Let's see, you know, we'll get to the 4 chord and the 5th bar of blues. Alright, so it gives you this. And what you're doing is you're playing that C9 chord, and then you're going to play the 3rd and 5th frets, hammer and pull, as a little 16th note triplet, on the first string, and then the 5th fret on the 2nd string. Be a little closer for you. You see, I'm a little noisy today. All right, we're just gonna take that idea and move it up 3 strings. 1st string, 2nd string, 3rd string. Even like if you're doing the blues and you get to the 5 chord. Right, it's it's just one of those things. You got this little box of notes that works really cool over that chord. So I'll use that little idea a whole bunch of different ways. The most common is that slide, the very first variation. But like I showed you, you've got a little bit of this sort of deal going on where you're playing the melody note with the pinky on the 1st string. And you can use that for a funky deal. You use the sliding thing for a funky deal as well as as well as the melody. All right, and then you've also got this little box of notes here. And there's even a Charlie Christian like that I don't have notated which is that's actually something we're going to save for another day because that's one of my favorite little Charlie Christianisms. But he uses that that little box to great effect on a lot of these tunes whenever he's playing over a dominant chord. So we'll get into that later on.